Hey folks, it's Mike from Ink2Penance here. Forgive the weird camera angle. I'm actually balancing my laptop on my foot because the light is coming in here and I cannot get the lighting to work otherwise. So there you go. I'm doing a pen today, so you'll see my face. Man, I'm wobbly. Can I get this to be some more stable? All right, now if I don't move, I think everything will be okay. All right, this is the Franklin-Christoph O2 Intrinsic. This is one of my wife's pens. She got it last year at the DC Pen Show. And merely a year later, I'm getting around to actually reviewing it. Now, I always think of this pen in my head as being sort of a pocket pen, but it definitely isn't. This is a pocket pen for sure. They're a little Quaco Sport. If you see these next to each other, not even close, right? This is not exactly a pocket pen size. This is a pocket pen size. It's a very nice pen. I think it's sleek. I really like this bit right here where it gets narrower at the end of the pen. It looks nice with the converter inside because the converter is right there about where it starts getting narrower. It's a nice effect. Now, if you Google this pen, you're going to find a whole bunch of images, and they're very good images of this pen filled up with ink. The whole barrel filled up with ink. This would be an eyedropper pen. I'm not an eyedropper guy. I don't really do that. And for whatever reason, I don't know, my wife never wanted me to. So I never bothered doing an eyedropper on this. The thing about eyedroppers for me is that my hands are kind of warm, I suppose, and so it warms up and it heats the barrel, and then ink shoots out of the nib while you're writing, and I don't like it. So I just don't do it. So this has a converter in it right now. I'll go ahead and unscrew this guy. Oh, also this is Cinnamaroon and Ice. Ice and Cinnamaroon, or Ice and Cherry, or I forget what they called this one. I didn't see it on the site, but this is a Cinnamaroon cap on the end, and also the section is Cinnamaroon, which is kind of a nice burgundy color, I think. If you take it off, you'll notice that the cap is fairly large. It does post very, very well. This is probably one of the best posting pens I've got. It posts super deeply. You can see up here, actually, this is the end. If I wiggle it, there you go. That's the end of the barrel right up here at the top of the cap. So all that weight that you would have just dangling off the end of a pen, I mean, if it posts on the end, it would be like this long. It would be crazy big. So I'm glad it posts deeply. Also, the cap is quite light, and there's no problem with it being back heavy at all. It works very well this way, and it fits nicely in the hand. Now, I have big hands. There we go. So take that as you will, but I've got, these are big hands, so no problem there. If it was a smaller pen, actually, I can use it just fine unposted, but just so the cap doesn't roll away, you'll notice this one doesn't have a clip. You can get some Franklin-Christoph pens without a clip, and this is one of them. Audrey, my wife, really wanted a clip, but they didn't have one available, so she got one without it. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at this sucker. We'll take this out here, and you'll notice that it's a nice frosty color here. This is the ice version of this pen, so it's very nice and clear up here, and then sort of gets that crackly ice-looking translucence down here. Now, this isn't a stain on the barrel. This is actually just we had this ink in a converter, and the mouth of it split a little bit, so there's a bit of a leak. I just never bothered to wash it out. I'm pretty sure it's not stained. Just got a little bit of ink in there. The converter stays in pretty well. I've got no problems with that. And also it tends to, the barrel goes on very deeply, so no worries about that kind of stability. Lots of threads here down at the bottom, so if you're an eyedropper person, you'll like that. That's a good feature. Some more threads that the ink has to get through before it gets all over you, if that's going to happen. Of course, a little silicone grease is your friend in that case. It'll keep that ink there. The section of this is actually very nice, I think. It's got a good shape to it. You can see it there against my expanding forehead. It kind of comes in a bit where the fingers rest. It's very nice. You'll also notice that the threads are right there at the end of the section. Yeah, so see that? And also notice that they're big and they're flat, and there aren't very many of them. There's like one thread, right? So that's a very good feature as well. I think if you had the threads up here where the barrel threads are, you'd be kind of getting your fingers on them, just because, I mean, this is how I hold a pen. I guess it's according to things I saw on the interwebs, it's a dynamic tripod. Anyway, if I did that, I would have my thumb sitting right on the threads right here. But I don't, because the threads are up here at the top of the section. Excuse me. Okay, I didn't sneeze. We're cool. And they're also, if you hold like very close to the nib, you'll be fine. I usually put a finger kind of right there. So I'm touching them, but they're flattened off and they're sort of smooth. So no problems there. It's not uncomfortable in the least. The nib on here is the giant Christoph music nib. That is a 2-slit, 3-tine music nib. I think it's a Gorgeous Nib. It's also a 1.9, so kind of a shovel. Looked at this way. All right, that's my shoveling animation. It's a great nib, and this giant feed on the back of the number 6 nibs feeds it just fine. No problems there. It's great. All right. So that's this bit of the pen. Here's the cap. The cap, as usual, has a bit of engraving along the edge. It says Franklin-Christoph 02. You can see there's some spots of ink in there. That's sort of the price you pay for having a translucent cap. I just haven't bothered to wash it out. I'm sure they come out, no problem. I've seen them come out of other caps. Same kind of design as the barrel, except in reverse. There we go. So you have the clear bit at the top, and a nice translucent bit down here. You can see the threads in there when you have the pen uncapped, but that's never been, I don't care about that. Also notice it doesn't take very many turns to get this out of there, so it's about one turn to take it off because the threads are big. But also it does lock up very nicely, so it's not going to come apart. I don't have any problem with that. It's not going to come loose. Now, this doesn't have a clip on it, of course, so a thing to get for that maybe is one of these guys. Franklin-Christoph makes these as well. You can see the Christoph emblem there. It's a little pin boot type thing, single pin case. Goes in there very nicely, fits perfectly, and it'll come out if you shake it, but whatever. It'll keep it from rolling off your desk because of this nice wedge shape. And it's quite nice. It's a very nice little pen case here. All right, so I got to get this pen back to my wife before she notices that I stole it for a while to do this review after merely a year of not reviewing it. But long story short, I really like this pen. I think it's an interesting shape. I think it looks nice. It's very well made, of course, because it's Franklin-Christoph, and they do fantastic work. And I think it's beautiful. If you're an eyedropper fan, you're going to love filling this sucker up with whatever your favorite awesome-looking ink is. All right, folks, that's it. I'm Mike. This is Ink Dependence. If you want way better and more pictures of this pen and many others, go to inkdependence.com. If you really like what I'm doing here and you'd like to help support me and my blog endeavors, go over to patreon.com/inkdependence to find out how you can help. And if you want one of these beauties, then go to franklin-christoph.com to find the 02 Intrinsic, right? 02 Intrinsic. Go check that out. Also, if you're at the DC Pen Show and you see this, come say hi to me. I'm sure they'll have some of these. Oh, and they will have them in amber and cinnamaroon. Got it right that time. Which is a gorgeous configuration of this pen. The orange is kind of a, it's called amber, but I think it's more like a, I don't know, it reminds me of like tangerine or something. Like it's a beautiful orange. I may have to get something in orange if I can find one and get there soon enough. And then it's got the cinnamaroon caps. All right, so that's that. This has been the 02 Intrinsic. I'm Mike. This is Ink Dependence. Peace out.